All right. So this week, for what we're doing is playing with some text mining stuff. So text mining, if you're unfamiliar, is the process of using uh, data science and machine learning tools to disassemble text to understand it better. And you can do all sorts of really cool stuff. You can unpack text, see what words and phrases are most used. You can identify parts of speech. There's a lot of interesting things that are fun to do with the software. In this case, one of the things I've been trying on our quarantine is just doing some freeform writing for fun, not business related. And I wanted to see how what I write differs from uh, other authors in terms of there are things that we can determine based on the data that's contained within writing. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to use the R programming language. The library that we're going to use is a library called Quantata. This is open source software. You install it as part of the R programming language, and we're going to go ahead and load in some of the text. Then I've got one piece of text here that is, I think, about 70,000 lines long. There's a lot of text in it. We're going to clean it up a little bit and make it distinct, and then we're going to do what's called cleaning and tokenization. So in order for hey Marcus, yeah, this is text mining stuff. So we're going to go through and make sure that all the text is in ASCII format. We're going to go through and tokenize it, which means splitting each set of words and phrases into individual, essentially numeric vectors, and then remove some common stop words. The processing of this, not super exciting. The first thing we'll do is do what's called collocations. Collocations are words and phrases that occur together. So this is stuff that if you were to look, for example, in news articles, you would see the words like coronavirus and pandemic together a lot. That's a collocation. You would see things like stock and market together. Collocations are a good way to understand a piece of text. I use it a ton with social media monitoring because you can very quickly understand a large amount of text. It's a processor cheap way of looking at text as opposed to something that's process expensive that consumes a lot of compute time. So in this case, I've got some collocations. I'm doing bigrams first, which are 2-word combinations, and then we're going to do 3-word combinations, which will be trigrams. And these, for this type of text, you're going to see more just very basic stuff. So here's an example of what this comes out. This is obviously the script to the Disney Frozen movies, right? And we've got some numbers. We've got the z-scores, which is sort of the overall relevance to the body. Again, not super helpful for writing, unless you want to see like what phrases an author might use a whole bunch. Where we're going to get some good stuff is in what is called lexical diversity. Now, this is a language concept that basically means how diverse are the words that you use. And what you'll see here is the text number and then the lexical diversity with 2 different scores. The documentation on this stuff is very, very, very arcane. Quantata has a reference library, and it's really terrific. They explain which measures, type token ratios, corrected ones. There's a whole bunch of different ratios, and then it's incumbent upon you as the writer to decide which algorithm, which formula do you want to use for lexical diversity. So there's the original ratio, the sort of the logarithmic version, and then the corrected version. So I'm going to use the logarithmic version and the corrected version. As with anything in R, it's going to go through each. If you look in the original script, each of these essentially represents one line in the script. So in order to make this easier to understand, we're going to summarize it down. And now we see it has a mean C, that's the log TTR of 0.93, and a mean CTTR of 2.53. Now, these numbers mean nothing, right? They're just benchmarks. So now, the next thing we want to do, I'm going to take just a quick screenshot of this so I can remember it. Actually, let's do this. Instead of doing that, let's assign that to a variable, a uniquely named variable. And now for the next time through, I'm going to go into my data folder and swap out that one script with a piece of writing that I wrote. And now I'm going to repeat the process. I'm going to rerun this entire thing, but now we're going to assign that data to line 2, to variable 2. So it's gone through, tokenized it, cleaned it up. I've got bigrams and trigrams assigned. And now let's see what the lexical diversity summary score is. 0.94 to 0.713. So that's interesting because when I was working on this piece of writing, I felt like my writing was not, I guess, diverse enough in the types of words and phrases I was using. And apparently, the opposite is true. What we're seeing here with this analysis is, no, actually, my writing is slightly more diverse in this. And so I can now go back and look at my writing with a more critical eye and go, well, okay, there's something here. I mean, maybe my writing isn't as bad as I thought. This is, I should put a disclaimer, this is fiction writing, which is not one of my strong points. I'm trying to teach myself the basic skill as a way to become a better overall writer. So that's actually not terrible. Now, if I were to put in, say, 4 or 5 of my favorite works in this particular genre, might end up with a very different look. Let's do that. Put them in. Let's do summary 3. We're going to notice this is going to take a lot longer because when you start, the more data you throw into this sort of thing, the longer it will take to do the crunching. You can see that took almost 4 times as long to get through that. And here, that you can see now the diversity numbers have shot up because we've got bigger, more diverse works. 0.96, 2.96 there. So this tells me that from a perspective of my writing isn't terrible, at least according to this measure of lexical diversity. It may still suck. But from this one particular measure, I can at least see that I'm not at the bottom of the heap. The classic example for poor lexical diversity is actually the scene from Forrest Gump when Bubba is going, you can make shrimp kebab, shrimp creole, shrimp gumbo, pan-fried shrimp, deep-fried shrimp, stir-fried shrimp, pineapple shrimp, lemon shrimp, coconut shrimp, And what you're seeing is that, like, that word shrimp just repeated over and over and over again. There's very little lexical diversity because 50% of the text is the word shrimp. One of the things that I've noticed that I do in my own writing, and I've read in other people's writing, is that there's a subset of words that I'm used to, that I'm comfortable with when describing like what a character is thinking or feeling, and I get stuck in a rut. So part of the challenge that I face is, how do I measure that? And that's what this lexical diversity measure would be good for. And then, can I improve that? And so one of the tools that I would trot out for this would be the related words tool. So when you're doing writing, if you type in the word said, there are all these other ways to use something to write it in such a way that you get more diversity, so it's just not so repetitive a reader. Now, where the benefit is for us in more of like a marketing context is, you look at all your social posts, you look at all your blog posts, you look at all the content you create, white papers and things. Are there words and phrases that you use so often and so frequently within a piece of text that your lexical diversity scores are like 0 because you're just saying the same thing over and over again? This would be one of the many, many measures you could use to benchmark yourself. Can I go back through when I'm editing a white paper or whatever and fix things up a little bit, phrase things differently? Now, this is a very programmatic way to look at writing. If you want more of the human way to look at it, I would definitely check out my friend Ann Handley's book, Everybody Writes. I think that's a fantastic reference, especially if you're on the non-technical side. But this is a technical way to pick apart some of those things that are in your writing as a diagnostic tool. Now, there are many, 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 many diagnostic tools out there. You've seen tons of them, Grammarly and Hemingway and stuff like that. Those are all good for like grammar and things. This is more of the what words and phrases are you putting in your text, and are you stuck? There are other measures too. You can do frequency counts, which is super helpful when you're doing parts of speech frequencies. So do you use the same adjectives over and over again? Do you use the same adverbs, the same verbs, the same nouns? How often do you use certain words? The Quantata library actually doesn't do much of that, at least not natively. For that, there's a library called UDPipe that also coincidentally works in like 27 different languages. So if you're using something, if you're doing that in like French Canadian, for example, or Danish, you would have to use UDPipe because a lot of the natural language processing tools are very biased towards the English language. I think Quantata works with some other languages. I'm not sure if it works with most. UDPipe works with like 20 some odd languages, including non-Western character set languages like Chinese. So takeaway from this session is use lexical diversity and other text mining measures to look at your text, look at your competitors' texts, and it would be, we're not going to do it here, but it would be interesting to see if you ran lexical diversity scores, say on 100 blog posts, and you measured returning, you measure traffic to those posts to see if there is a statistical relationship between better written stuff and stuff that performs well, particularly when it comes to search. Remember now that search engines are looking for topics as opposed to individual keywords, it would be interesting to run this analysis and see if more well-written, diverse content performs better. We're not going to do that here because I think that would take probably a couple hours to put that code together. But it'd be kind of fun, kind of a fun thought experiment to see if that's the case. In any event, making your writing more diverse and not beating to death the same words or phrases over and over again is a good thing to do. So take that away, play with this stuff, see how it works for you. If you don't code in R, you can do this. I know there's a ton of really good natural language processing libraries in Python as well. I don't know that there are a ton of off-the-shelf software products that would do stuff like this in this way. So you'll probably have to stick with the coding versions for now. But yeah, play with it. See if it helps improve your writing. Thanks for watching. Hope you are having a relaxing time and staying safe and staying home and trying some new things if you have the bandwidth to do so. Like I said, I'm trying some fiction writing for fun. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data analytics and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.